Hi folks, welcome again to the channel. Juan here from Physical Media EU. Today we're going to review the 4K release of Point Break. Hello again and thanks for tuning in for this 4K review of Point Break. But before we start, I would like to invite you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you're interested in physical media, especially Blu-ray reviews and also soundtrack vinyls, as you can see back here. Besides, you can also find me on Instagram with the same handle, Physical Media EU, where I post detailed pictures of everything that I review. Now we can begin taking a look at this release. I apologize for the reflection, but that's why I post the pictures on Instagram. So this release has a slipcover here in the front. You see the original poster of the movie. On the back you get the description of the content of the two discs, because this 4K also comes with a Blu-ray, and some details about the movie. And as you can see here on the front, this is a release from Shout Factory. Actually, it's a number 151. Now, moving on, we can see the standard version here, right? The standard cover, the same on the back. And if we open, here are both discs. This is the 4K and this is the Blu-ray. Now, Point Break, of course, is a childhood favorite, a movie with a lot of adrenaline, a lot of action. The story is very good and the locations are also great. So a 4K release is very, very welcome. So talking about that, let's jump right into talking about picture quality. And in this case, I hope my opinion is not too controversial, but the image had a lot of grain, like a little bit, like at the beginning I was like, whoa, a little too much. But after a couple of minutes, the eye gets used to it, and then I thought that it was actually looking super good. At the same time, I checked this movie both with and without Dolby Vision, and I thought that actually the Dolby Vision helps the image quite a lot, because it was so much brighter than without. But the image is sharp, the colors are much more vivid than they were on the Blu-ray, so overall I think it looks pretty good. Now moving on to the audio track, it comes with the original audio track in English, and it is DTA's HD Master Audio 5.1, which I think sounds pretty good, but it didn't necessarily blow my mind. I think it just does the job well, but I was not super impressed. An important thing to mention about this release is that the 4K disc is region free, right, like most of the times, but the Blu-ray is actually region A locked. So that's where most of the extras are. So if you have a region B only player, you won't have access to those extras, because the 4K disc only includes the movie. Now, talking about bonus features, let's go over this list real quick. It has some additional scenes which are about like 4 extra minutes in the movie, but the quality is very source, to say, in a way. I don't want to say that it looks bad, but yeah, it doesn't have any kind of post-processing, so it looks very raw. Then there's also a theatrical trailer, and includes 4 featurettes that's about another 43 minutes of content. But with that said, all those featurettes were existing. There's nothing new in these bonus features. There's no new interviews or anything. Everything is back in the day. Of course, yeah, like Patrick Swayze is not around, the director is not around anymore either, and Kenny Reeves at this point probably can be a little hard to get. But in similar cases in other movies, they maybe talk with, I don't know, someone who composed the score for the film, or was involved in some other way. This version doesn't have that, it's just those old featurettes from back in the day. As usual, I like to mention about other releases. In this case, this is the first time that this movie comes out in 4K, so there are not a lot of options right now if you want the 4K. On the other hand, the Blu-ray, there were several Blu-ray releases, especially some that were very cool, that had very cool steelbooks. I think there is one from Zavi in the UK that is very good. You can see the picture up here. But if you're after 4K, yeah, this is the only option you have for now. I imagine that this movie being so big, having so many followers behind it, I would find very strange that other labels in other parts of the world, because this is US only, wouldn't find a way to pick up this title. What sometimes happens in cases like this is that the original label that releases the movie has a certain period of exclusivity. I think that most of the times is like 1 year, and then it comes out in other regions. So I imagine that's what will happen with this one. And yeah, I already got this version, but maybe who knows, in the future if there's a better release I might exchange it. And in that case I would imagine that they might come up with somewhat like better releases than this one. If I have one thing to criticize about this one, I think that the release is just like too bare bones. It's like just like a standard with the slipcover. I feel like they could have done something more interesting, especially coming from Shout Factory that they do such amazing releases for other films. So this one felt a little bit not enough in my opinion. With that said, if you like the movie and if you want to watch it in the best quality available, definitely you should get this version. I think that this edition with the slipcover won't be available for too long, and then the standard release will be available. But of course, the content is always the same. So that was it for the review. Remember that I will post detailed pictures of this on Instagram, and I would love to hear in the comments if you have watched this movie, if you like it. I think is so you can also tell me if you are planning to get this release. Thank you so much for watching, and see you all at Okie Dogs.